Good afternoon, Australia, and a big hello to the rest of the world. It's time for Run That Back. We're going to relive the intoxicating, mesmerizing semifinal between the Opals and host Spain at the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup 2018 with two of Australia's finest, Beck Allen and Cayla George, a.k.a. Georgie Girl. I'm Jeff Taylor, and my co-host is Azania Stewart. Real quickly, Beck Allen, 5 seasons in the WNBA with the New York Liberty, tremendous with Gdynia in Poland and the EuroLeague women this season. A couple of successful World Cup appearances with the Opals, and absolutely, without a doubt, one of the best shooting guards in international basketball. Cayla George, what comes to mind when I think of you? Well, you've got fire, you've got that competitive spirit, you've got that upbeat attitude that's essential for the Opals, and of course, plenty of skill and talent. You've played at the World Cup in Turkey, you played at the Olympics in Rio, and at the World Cup in Spain. What a privilege to be here with both of you. And Azania Stewart, it's always a joy to be with you. Great Britain Olympian back in 2012, longtime pro, and now staying up late in America to join us for this big broadcast for Run That Back. Take it away, Azania.
Thank you, Jeff. And welcome, ladies, to our first ever episode. It's a great way for our fans to get a different insight and straight from the athletes. So first of all, I would like to say, how are you guys doing? What you've been up to? Have you been chefing it up in the kitchen, trying new TikToks, or just hanging out with Cayla?
Yeah, so I've been keeping myself busy. I'm at home in far north Queensland with my family, just riding out this weird corona time. And I've actually started a program mentoring young girls. And so I'm in week 2 of a 12-week program, and they've just got full access to me. We do cooking, we talk about mental health, we have special guests on each week. We had Lauren Jackson on last week. It's a really cool program, and I've got almost 180 girls on it as of today. So really exciting stuff, just trying to really influence these young aspiring athletes.
No, that's excellent, and a lot of hard work has gone into that. And Beck, what have you been up to?
I've just been doing a lot of things that I probably wouldn't be normally doing if I was in season. You know, I've been baking a lot, and I never knew that was something that I was capable of. I've also been getting into the Pilates and doing those sort of things. So it's been a nice sort of a rest period for the mind, I guess. I've been going to back-to-back seasons for quite a while now. So I think that I've just welcomed this break, even though I've had absolutely no control over it.
Nice.
Well, this is a big moment. This is the first episode of Run That Back, and we're going to be looking back at a game that wasn't played that long ago, less than 2 years ago in Tenerife, Spain. It was exciting, and you know, I know that a lot of people down under maybe they remember that. You know, the Opals have been so big for so long. You know, going back to that World Cup that you hosted in 1994, Cayla, I think you were just 5 at the time. And we are, you know, amazingly, we're going to be having another World Cup in Australia coming up. But the one that we watched in 2018, I'll never forget it. And I'll never forget Australia. And I'm really excited to hear both of your thoughts as we get into this. And why don't we just start here literally with the bus pulling up at La Hamburguesa in Tenerife. Cayla, what is going through your mind here before the game?
Don't fall out of the bus. No, I'm pretty anxious and nervous for this game. This is probably one of the biggest games I've ever been a part of, especially in an Opals uniform. So yeah, I feel like you can tell everyone's pretty tense, pretty ready. The nerves are there, everyone's face is pretty focused, and then, you know, once we get into the change room, some of us like to dance and have a sing-along, others like to stay focused with their headphones on, but you know, we all are pretty familiar with each other's routines, and at that moment, just, you know, walking into the stadium is just, you know, getting ready, calming the nerves, and just staying focused.
Well, there the Opals are walking through, and Beck, I don't know about the pregame routine. I assume that you guys want to eat at a certain time. You want to have some rest. You know, do you take the same routine in any game that you play?
No, I'm a bit different. A lot of people have sort of said this, I don't really stick to a routine because I think there's so many things that are always changing. There's so many variables that you have no control over. So I'm not someone that has to have a nap at this certain time, who has to eat the same sort of meal. So I'm very much, if I feel it, I'll do it. If I feel like I need that nap, I'll take it, So as long as I'm feeling fresh and ready for the game, anything just to keep those nerves sort of subdued and so that I'm ready to go.
Oh, check out that fishtail. Woo!
Your hair is always on point, Cayla. I must admit, I've never seen that ponytail or
Thank you, sister. I thought about cutting my hair off, but I think I'm going to leave it.
No.
Never do it.
That's your signature.
It's a buzz cut. One all over.
How did you feel about having a camera in the locker room at this point?
I don't even remember it being there. I
it was,
think I was in my own little zone. I don't think I even remember there being a camera in the locker room.
And things get kind of crazy for the Opals as well. Things get kind of crazy for the Opals. I know that Azania has been buzzing. We were talking about doing this game, and there was something that she remembered that happened right before this game, and I think it was actually quite captivating. I mean, it kind of got me into the flow of everything else. I mean, you girls were showing us some pretty good dance moves.
I absolutely love this clip because there's all a moment where you guys are just in a circle, you have your moment to go in the middle and show your best dance move. But you look a bit serious there. Do you get nervous when it's your time to go in the middle? Cayla, I know you absolutely shine in these moments. I know you. Look, you're buzzing for it.
I'm just waiting my turn. Look, I'm like, okay, all right, here we go.
All this is.
That's low key. It's not a high moment. It's just low key. Hey, shivers. Hey. All right, bud.
I love this for you guys because some teams are so straight edge, very focused, and we even see Spain later on, look like they're ready for war. Where you guys are just so relaxed, dancing, and I really love this kind of style of play because you just move and not really thinking about the game. Cayla, do you like to do this a lot or just the Opals?
Is that a question of me?
Yeah. Do you like to dance?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I find it to be a little bit too stressful if I'm too focused and too serious before any game, not just with the Opals. So I definitely like to, have a bit of a dance in warm-ups, have a bit of a muck around with the girls on my team, whether it be the Opals or my team here in Australia. That can, relax a little bit. If people like to be serious, I'll leave them alone. But for me, this is my whole vibe, because if it's too serious, then I go into the game overthinking everything. So this is my whole vibe.
Right, nice. I see the whole crew
to the game.
This is the whole point of it, to run it back, to go through these feelings and emotions again. Because you even said you get nervous again, we're about to play the game.
Yeah,
I feel like it just gets everyone so hyped up before it too. I think that's why the energy is just lifted and everyone's just at that moment, you finish the dance or whatever and you just want to go. You just want to start that warm up. So I don't know, it just gets everyone really up.
Yeah.
Well, I think definitely Alana Smith distinguished herself with some incredible moves there. I have to say, she must have done a little bit of night clubbing in her days at Palo Alto and Stanford. And what about the contrast here? Azania with Spain? It's all business.
Serioso. They don't dance, they don't really talk much, they're just kind of ready for war. And this is the complete contrast as they come out ready for war. So we just see the different spectrum of what an athlete could get like. But here they do a little jump, but I prefer the Australian, the Aussie style. Dance, relax, kick back, have a drink, and get ready to play.
Have a swig of beer right before warm-ups.
Of
I'll
water.
say have a drink.
I mean, not to belabor the issue here, but Cayla and Beck, Cayla, I guess going back to 2014 when we watched you play in Turkey, and I mean, you had an absolute fantastic team back in 2014. You had the injury to Liz Cambage. It really could have like knocked a team off the rails, but you guys held it together. But you weren't dancing then before games, were you? When did this start?
Yeah, I guess, we had a coaching change. And so with that came a bit of a culture shift. The leadership group changed a little bit. And so, I think just culturally from the coaches down to the leadership group, down to the playing group, I feel like it changed in a great way. And now we approach games like that. We're pumped for each other. We're happy for each other's successes. And our culture is about, winning for each other. And it's really, not that it wasn't before, but it's just a real emphasis on it now. And I know for myself as one of the Opals leaders, I like to make sure everyone's in a good headspace. And if that means, giving them a bit of a bump, having a bit of a dance on them, that's what I'll do. If it means just having a quiet word to them on the bus, that's what I'll do. So I feel like we all have a really good understanding of what each other needs. And that's, what we're, doing with the Opals right now.
And Beck, are you, I kind of feel like with you, you're kind of like you're ready to go before you even leave the hotel. Is that right? I mean, you don't want to talk to anybody. You just want to focus on what you got to do.
I am a bit like that. I wouldn't say like I'm being serious in that sort of regard, but I'm very much quieter. I like just to be in that sort of a zen place. In the dancing, you probably won't see me ever in the center of the circle, but I'm definitely getting amongst it on the outer side. That's how I'm going to put it. But I just know what works for me, and that's how I know that I'm going to perform well, I guess. And so, I mean, with every team, but just like how Cayla said, it's from a cultural side. Everyone just starts feeling relaxed when they go out to the court just because everyone knows we've got each other's backs, and that's just a huge part of playing for a team.
Now you're talking to us from Victoria. Cayla, you're up in Queensland, up in Cairns. You come from Adelaide, just for people watching in case you didn't know where these Opals were speaking to us from. And Azania all the way out in Colorado. Azania, we've looked through that pregame warm-up. We've looked through that, and now the teams are going to come out and they're going to warm up. And again, as you get closer and closer to that time for that tip-off, knowing the magnitude of a game like this, let's be honest, it's not every day that you get to play in a World Cup semifinal, FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup semifinal, and it's not every day that you get to play on the home court of the hosts, to take them on and to be in that type of atmosphere. Cayla, is there more pressure on you, Australia, at that moment, or is there more pressure on Spain?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think obviously both teams have their pressures, but I feel like if you're Spain, there's an expectation. You're second in the world at that point. You won the silver medal in Rio. Home crowd. I feel like, they might have felt the pressure probably maybe more than us. We certainly put the pressure on ourselves because we know, going into a game, you want to be confident, but not overconfident. You want to go in, with a sound mind. So I guess we put a little bit of pressure on ourselves as well. But I mean, it was a tough game. Like, I think, from what I can remember, I kind of just like remember moments of the game. So I guess I'll see here. I haven't watched it since 2018, but I'm certainly looking forward to watching the start if we have any clips of it, because I feel like it started off pretty fast.
We should go into the national anthem here.
Oh, the anthem.
Okay, so I'm going to go.
Australia.
I'm going to just throw this out there. What do you see that is different about how these teams are on the court right now? Beck.
We look united. We look together, and I love that. you know, sorry, was that for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was for you. Sorry, I shouldn't have said.
Oh, great.
So-
No, I just think that
Okay,
that's
so
something
Beth,
we've
why
always-
are we seeing Australia like horizontally as opposed to vertically like Spain?
Well, it's a decision that we made as a group. We wanted to have our arms around each other. We're facing our flag. I know when you're singing your national anthem on a stage like this, especially, we're in Spain, we're on their home soil. The pride that you really feel in that moment is huge. And I don't think I realized that until I've also haven't heard my Australian anthem as much from playing overseas. Coming there, like there's a sense of like I do get a little bit emotional when I'm in that line. And especially because you are all sort of, you know, you grab each other a little bit as it gets towards the end and then the hype starts again. So I don't know. I love that. I loved the pressure and all of that of doing it on Spain soil and having our national anthem there.
And you guys sing it really loud and proud, where I don't think we'll see the Spanish anthem, but the Spanish, yet again, they're very quiet. They're in the zone where you guys sing your opals colors, the green and gold, super loud. So that is a dope piece, because I love playing for my nation as well. That's a special part of getting ready for the game that we should be getting into. Actually, this game is so epic. I'm so glad we picked this to have you guys on here, because there's so much excitement and the game is full of up and downs, roller coaster moments. So we're gonna get into tip off, Beth. Over to you.
Cayla, talk about some of these players that we're looking at and what makes them special. Alba Terens, for example.
Yeah, so I remember playing Alba at my junior worlds, so under 19s back in 2007, and she was a talent back then and has gone on to be an absolute international superstar for Spain and, you know, EuroLeague sensation. And I just think that, you know, she's a superstar, and she was definitely a focal point for us. And Endor, she's, you know, their main piece inside, and she's tough, she's long, she's athletic, so she certainly is another focal point that we definitely had to shut down.
And Laia Palau
And Laia Palau, she actually, she had a season in Australia. Actually, I can't remember if it was before this or maybe just before this. She had a season in Australia with the Dandenong Rangers. So she got a bit of a taste of the Aussie style over here. So which might have put her in good stead. I think she had a pretty good game this game, actually, if I can remember that correctly. Oh, and this girl, this is Cayla.
She's a keeper. But you're still so relaxed all the way through the start of the game. I love it, babe. I love watching you play.
Oh, I have to be. Otherwise, I overthink big time.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm nervous.
So we're just
Who's going to win the tip?
Yeah, we're coming up right before the tip off, and you know we want to show some of the highlights. We're actually going to fast forward it, and it's really interesting how you guys get your first bucket. A jump shot from Liz. Cayla, is that how you saw that up?
Yes.
I think my connection's gone a little bit bad. I couldn't really hear your question, sorry. Ooh.
So Liz Cambage, the dominant player, in so many games for Australia. You know, you worry about her posting up. She catches the inbounds pass. You know, is this a good sign for you, Beck, to see Liz come right out and establish herself, even if she's, say, 15 feet from the basket? Well, actually, Cayla, why don't you answer that?
I think we've lost Beck.
Yeah. I certainly think that, you know, Liz getting her touches early is good for her and what she needs to feel mentally. So she's certainly obviously our biggest focal point, but we don't want to rely on her. We need to have the good pieces around her. So, you know, early in the game, we do want her to find her touches. She's the best player in the world. So we certainly want her to be able to feel good out there and start the game off with a bang.
So with Liz, you know, obviously she goes on, she has a giant game, which we're going to see. But it's like you say, everybody else has to be able to find their own way in this game. Is that a struggle for the Opals when you have a talent like Liz Cambage?
I wouldn't say it's a struggle because it's certainly an advantage for us, but there's certainly a lot of work that goes into fitting the correct pieces the correct way around her, and making life easier, not just for her, but for all of us. So, Australia have a huge, amazing legacy, the Opals going back 2 decades. And so for us just to maintain that and continue it, it means so much. So we all put in a lot of hard work, mentally and physically, to be able to continue that legacy throughout these years and beyond.
Well, we've seen the start. We've seen Liz come out, and we've talked about how how the Opals came out kind of relaxed. And I'm really interested to see how this game kind of develops. We're going to look at some more action here in the first quarter, and keep your eye on the ball handler right now, Laya Palau. Okay, give us, what is that all about, Cayla? You just took a bow. Palau with the bow.
She's busting
I'm
out.
not sure. Yeah, not sure what that's about, but maybe it was a bit of strategy. Not sure, a bit of a psych out. There you go. We'll get him back. There you go. 2 points. Thank you very much.
Is she calling the play?
Maybe she was just telling someone to come forward.
It's definitely a play call. That's all I can say. That has to be a play call.
Well, they did get a layup out of it. Zania, Liz sprint down the court again. I mean, that's a great sign. They answer a basket with a basket. She came ready to play.
Yeah, early, really soon she comes out. And also that's so good for you guys, even though she bows and they get a play instantly, you get your post player running the floor and get her the ball. So that's amazing. We should go into Beck's first basket, which I love. Here we go.
Go Spidey.
Yeah, Spain sets up in the zone here, and Beck is in the corner to touch the ball here, and it gets swung. So Beck, seeing your first shot go in, are you feeling like, oh, this is my game tonight? And you also see your teammates there throw up the spider hands. So 1, where does the spider name come from? And 2, how does it feel seeing the ball go in the net for the first time?
Well, I'm going to answer the second question first. Honestly, I'm someone who loves seeing that first shot go in. I think that when you get that confidence up immediately, you're just feeling really good about yourself. I think that's for shooters. We like having that confidence with that first bucket going in. And to the first question, I'm pretty lanky and long. So I got that nickname Spider from when I was 12 years old, trying to learn a post move. I had arms and legs just going everywhere, and then that's how I got that nickname, and it stuck, which is pretty crazy.
I think it's just pretty cool that they're on the sideline, like
a little bit of that.
Love it.
Talking about that 3-pointer though, I mean that shot is like, you can see you've taken how many 3-pointers would you venture to say that you've taken in practice over the years?
I don't know. I can't answer that, but sometimes I just think that when it's coming out of your hand and it feels good. I think you know when it's going in.
Well, we know that Cayla can shoot them as well, and I'd love to see
him in a sometimes.
So what we find is that in this game, that relaxed attitude, whatever, Australia, for whatever reason, come out, they're playing exceptionally well. I know Sandy Brondello, the coach, has to be, at this point, really happy. It just, the lead keeps to grow and grow, and everything is going right for Australia in this first quarter, Beck. So Sammy hits the 3-pointer, so it's not just you hitting it. Sammy comes out. Look at the lead. But Rebecca, is there like a temptation here to think this is going to be pretty straightforward? We're going to win this thing.
No, I don't think you think that. I don't think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I never expect that with Spain. But it's just that everything changed with games. You have ebbs and flows. And I feel like we just had to ride each storm, I guess, because they were always going to make a comeback at us. But for us to start the game like that and just set the tone, I think that says a lot about us. But then also when they came back at us, which they were always going to do, we were able to ride that out as well. So, yeah, we started that game fantastically.
And Cayla, how crucial was that good start for Australia in a game like this?
Yeah, it certainly helped us get focused pretty quickly. But as Spider just said, ebbs and flows of a game, Spain were never just going to lay over and let us take the win like that. So it certainly turned out to be a pretty juicy second and third and even fourth quarter after this one. So, yeah, glad we got the upper hand in the first quarter, though, and got settled into the game pretty quickly.
It's always nice to see the ball go in the basket so early, being a former player.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want the lid on the basket. So I watched in the first quarter, everyone on the floor scores, and that's such a good feeling and good team morale kind of, and gets you going early. And I thought that was such a fantastic start from you guys. They've only scored 6 points and you're on the roll. It's a really good start.
Absolutely.
Thanks, babes.
This is a great Spain team that we know, and they're always going to come back. I look at Spain, I look at the Australian, I'm like, it's really difficult to remain neutral in this because I like both of these teams. And sure enough, Spain have a lot of fight, but it was incredible seeing your players coming from the bench contributing like that as well. I mean, Sammy came out, hit that big 3-pointer, so obviously everybody was ready, Beck.
Yeah, I mean everyone's ready. You know that when like the next people come into the game, they're keeping the same level. That's what comes with the trust that everyone has within each other and knowing your roles as well and coming into the game ready. That's such a skill that people don't realize as well. It's one thing when you start the game to get over the nerves by easing into it, but when you come off the bench, you just need to be on. So I think you can't take away how hard that is to do coming straight in and just hitting that first shot or getting that deflection on defense. So I think that's one thing as well just about the Opals is just that there's such that team camaraderie where everyone knows how to like fulfill their role and do it to the highest level.
Well, Cayla, we're going to see some other action coming up here, and once that comeback does happen from Spain, it's interesting to see how Australia reacts, both in their performance and also their body language.
Yeah, I think if I can recall, my nerves within the game, which usually doesn't happen, started to pick up again. Because they were coming at us pretty hard. So I remember that my nerves came back, which usually like I said, once I start a game, they're done. The nerves are before the game and then focused during the game. But it was more just about settling that, momentum swing from Spain again. And I felt like we combated that pretty well, even though maybe initially it didn't look like that. But, we ended up winning all right.
But even with that, what's sort of funny is that with the nerves that came with that game is I found that they came back at us and I feel like we just got that fire again. I remember yelling, we're not losing this game, or even like I'm not someone who chest bumps anyone. And I remember going up and chest bumping Liz. I was like, who am I? And at the same time, I feel like something just takes over your body when you're in these really like high pressured situations. There's so much on the line. Yeah. And also when you just desperately want something, I think that's when you see another side of like everyone's competitive personality, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then we should go into, I think there's a Liz clip when she's bringing up the ball. Here's your great defense, by the way, Beck. Good hands, both Cayla and Beck. And then here we see Liz bringing up the ball. Unfortunately, she does have a offensive style, but is this the evolution of women's game? Is it, that we have the 1-5 that can have ball skills, can bring up the ball, can initiate the offense like a Kevin Durant or a Draymond Green? You know what I
Hey,
mean?
point forward.
You know what I mean?
That's the new
So
position. Point forward.
right, point forward. So what's your thought on this, Beck?
Honestly, I like the idea of being able to push the ball. I know we've got plays like Cayla gets the rebound, she gets and she just goes straight into a play. She knows exactly what she's doing. She can run and I know the play. I just think that there's things where it's great if you can play that fast style game because it's so hard to defend. So if we've got us pushing the balls, the bigs taking it, kicking it ahead to another guard, or as you see, sort of trying to go the whole way, it's a really good advantage for us to have is that versatility.
And Cayla, okay, we've already seen now twice Liz starting to interact with the crowd after the made free throws and then after the turnover. Is this a good idea?
Yes. So Liz loves it when the crowd's against her. So FYI for future away crowds, just rev her up, please. So I feel like, we do have to keep her, in the game, and not go crazy and, get double teched and ejected or anything like that, because she does play with a lot of passion. But I think that that's just Liz, and I would never change her, showing that she's a proud Australian, showing her Australia top like that. I mean, that's just her. She wasn't really doing it. It might have been a bit cheeky, but that's about it. We're in Spain. They probably would have done the same thing. Like, it is what it is. The crowd got revved up from it, and we ended up getting booed for the rest of the game. Oh, definitely Liz.
And Beck, what about you? I mean, as a commentator, I love it because it gives us something to talk about and it gets me excited. So in a way, I'm a fan. But what about you? Is that a distraction? Is that good for Australia in your opinion?
It's not a distraction, I don't think, unless you make it one. I think that it just gives you that energy boost again, and just it is that fire, the same that Cayla mentioned. You've got Liz that feeds off that as well, but then it's also keeping us all, together, because there's one thing that a crowd honestly can do. It can make people nervous and rush, and that can sort of create everyone sort of playing individually, or it brings you closer together. And I think that that's what really happens for us. If the crowd starts booing one of us, you're booing all of us, and then it's also, you take that personally, you come together. So I don't know, I think that the crowd is trying to go against you, but it works in the totally opposite effect.
Well, I think what we'll find as we continue to watch Spain's level of play, whether it's because the crowd is getting angry at Liz or getting excited, or it's just that overall quality in that Spanish team, what we see is that Spain continued to recover in this game. And it really speaks to the quality, I think, in that team, the talent. And going back to your earlier comments, you always know they're going to have a run and they're going to come back. And when they have a player, for example, like Alba Turin's Cayla, that really Spain are just really quick, not that far off from having a big run. Look at the score now.
Yeah. Talbot was right in her face, and that's a tough shot.
Maybe Sammy shouldn't have gone up. What about this?
No.
Yeah, I remember that moment. Yeah, so I remember that moment. It was definitely a huge, probably one of the biggest momentum swingers for Spain. Right before the half, I think they ended up being up by 8 at the half, I'm pretty sure.
I think it was just one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was that.
Oh, was it just one?
I think it is just one.
Oh,
I think it is just one. It's
might have
really
been the third
close.
quarter.
Yeah, but this is such a
the
big.
Third quarter, they're up by 8.
This is such a big swing as we see Torrance then getting the crowd back involved, because you have kind of quietened them down because you have done this great big, lead, and then she hits back-to-back threes and puts them they're up 1 at halftime. So another great run, and then we're going into halftime. So at halftime, what happens? What do you talk about? How do things, what does coach get you in line with? How do you feel at that moment, Beck?
Well, I think actually, let me say, first of all, I think we're going to see one more exchange here right before halftime. Watch this. Spain have already taken the lead. This is incredible considering Australia were up, 15, 16 points.
Oh, yeah, nice finish by Talbot.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
And that is Anna Cruz's spot on the floor right there. She will hit that shot every time. And
She will.
Psychologically, the Opals, I mean, you must be, are your legs wobbling at this point, Beck? Because, again, you were in command, and here you are trailing 35-34.
Well, if you think about it, you're still in the game, I think we always, no matter the result at halftime, you go in there and we always say it's back to 0-0. Let's just get our head in the game. Let's go back to what we need to do. Let's lock down defensively. I think whilst we were scoring and moving the ball really well in that first quarter, we need to think about what were we doing right then and what do we need to adjust to right now. So I think it's just making sure, let's stay calm. We've still got control of this game. Yes, in that moment, they had momentum, but the key is having momentum, especially right at the end. We're very much in this game, but it's locking down on certain players, making sure they're not hitting those big shots, but we're also playing at the highest level. So you're going to expect the best to come out of every single player on those teams.
Well, Sandy Brondello certainly is quite a limber coach over there. I'm guessing. I'm guessing. You have to fight through adversity to win these things. And there's Liz. We saw her interacting with the crowd. You two are obviously supporting her as her teammate, and that's great to hear that it really fires you up. But I think it definitely fired up Spain. And they came back to take the lead. While we have a minute here, ladies, we've been telling people to send us questions, and we've actually had some comments come in, interestingly from America. So some people staying up quite late over there in my homeland. So I'd like to say thanks very much. This one comes from Michigan, and it's Kenny. Greetings from Michigan. You both are excellent athletes and are very complimentary to Australia and to the game of basketball itself. But do y'all see yourselves playing in the WNBA this season? Cayla.
I'll answer that question. Just for now, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we are going to be playing that there will be a league in the WNBA this season, but obviously with everything going on in the world, I can't be the person who answers that. So I guess for Cayla and myself, it's just all about staying ready, staying fit, staying healthy, and then, just getting through this together.
And Cayla, I'm not sure how much you realize how adored you are in America, because we have another one from Christian, Alessandro Christian. Cayla, I want to see you in the WNBA again. And he follows that with a couple of exclamation marks.
Oh, well, Christian. Well, we'll see, hey? We'll see. My mate Rona's kind of come in and messed some things up for everyone. So, we'll see.
We got another question coming in on YouTube from Daskalos. And maybe we've kind of touched on this already, but we'll go back. Beck, did you think you were going to win this thing pretty easily after that first quarter?
No, I would never say the word easy would never come into what I would be saying about beating Spain. Did I think that we were going to win that game? Yes, I did think that we were going to win that game. Easily, no. I knew it was always going to be a challenge.
Okay, I have to confess, I put the word easily in there. Daskalos didn't say it. He just wanted to know.
Oh, Cayla.
But how about you, Cayla? I mean, it was a dream start. You're in Tenerife. I mean, who wouldn't want to be in Tenerife? The sun, the fun, the basketball. You're up 15 points against Spain. All of the pressure is on them all of a sudden. Did you think you were going to win the game at the end of the first quarter?
Honestly, Jeff, we were just drinking pina coladas every night. We weren't even focused on the World Cup. What are you talking about? Fun in the sun on an island in Spain. Woo! No, I definitely was quietly confident that we as a collective would get the job done. And I think as an athlete, you could ask anyone, if that's not their mindset, then there's probably a problem. You go into every game quietly confident, as long as you get the scouting done, you get, what the coach talks about,
Right.
yeah, I was quietly confident, but knowing that playing the host nation in a quarter or a semi is one of the hardest things to do at an international level.
Yeah. And for me, going into the third, watching you, Beck, it's like a switch turned on, because your energy, your hustle plays, you're diving on the floor, you turn it up a level, and that even at one point, there's a crowd in the corner, you catch the ball and it kind of looks like a travel, and they're all there, and you turn and go, I didn't travel. Somebody who's a quiet player and very chilled, now you're reacting to this hostile crowd in the second half. So we're going to see some more clips, but for you, now you're into it, a player that's quite content.
I love that you call me quiet and chilled, because I think that most people that play with me would not say that at all. I think I've maybe become a little bit more intense over the years. I don't know. I just know that whenever I desperately want something, I think that's when you start to see that. And I know that, with the teammates, I know for Cayla, for example, she knows how to keep me going in the game, especially if it's coming to the shooting, the person who always goes, you've got the next one. Or I'm very much an emotional player, I would say. So chill. I don't know if that's the best way to describe me, but I like to think that that's what I am,
More, I meant you're very, at the beginning of the game, we saw you very focused, is what I meant, not chilled in.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But no, I definitely did start. I felt like with this game, defense is probably what I remember personally about my game. I felt like I did quite a good job.
Yeah,
so just smile at the end.
Okay, we're gonna take a peek now here. What happens in the third quarter? In fact, there wasn't much of a third quarter that we want to show, because it was quite sloppy at times. So we're going to fast forward it to the final 30 seconds. This is starting to look pretty bad for Australia, to be honest. I mean, Spain have got the wind in their sails. Cayla, look at this. Talk me through that.
I just my heart just started racing. I was like, oh, we're just watching that. Yeah, I think Lizzie's off the floor. Yep, she's off the floor right now. So, that's my role on the team, is to be that presence inside when Liz is off the floor, especially. So that was what I was trying to do in that moment. So I felt like I had a height advantage on whoever was guarding me. So I just had to take it strong to the rack and either get an and one or just knock in the two.
Okay, but let's just stand up and applaud Laia Palau, who came out of retirement to play at this World Cup. She's not a legend for Spain. I mean, one of the
she's
all-time
never going to retire.
I was going to say, I don't think she'll ever retire. She'll be balling at 70.
Well, here we are.
Obviously
You're down
a fantastic player, though.
You're down 8 points. And your thought process says, "Don't worry, we got this." I can't wait to see the start of the fourth quarter, because this is probably the most intense fourth quarter of the entire World Cup. Look at this. Beck, you go back to Liz.
I think I remember. Oh.
Go ahead, Cayla.
I was just going to say, I remember coming out of that huddle just before the start of the fourth quarter, and Liz, you would probably remember this, Spider. She said something about, we are not losing this game. She got a hype emotional kind of team leader chat with us in the huddle, and just kind of made it clear that we weren't losing. So I actually, when that happened, was like, all right, I actually, for the first time since the half, was not nervous again.
Yeah, nice.
She goes to a double She has 26 points and 10 rebounds at that point. I know that, on the outside looking at it, you're like, hey, these other Australians are great players. We need to talk about them, but we can't not talk about Liz. If she's not interacting with the crowd, riling them up, she's out there. She's got 26 points and 10 rebounds, and we're early in the fourth quarter. Just, Beck, this is an incredible, as we continue to watch the video, I mean, I can't wait to see how this develops. But, bear in mind, Liz is having one of the all-time great games in Women's World Cup history.
Absolutely. I remember, it's funny how you remember things differently, because I watched over this game after, and I just think just watching how Liz did play, she had one hell of a game. She was playing so well, but I would say that for the entire tournament. But yeah, no, this game she was just doing really well. She was doing everything that we needed of her and being that huge presence. I think one of our first plays was to get the ball inside because we wanted to see how's Spain going to defend this. And it's something that they struggle with. So why would you not keep going into something that they're struggling to defend? So, I mean, that's just going to be, she's a pivotal player to our team, and I think we really utilized her well.
Well, one player that we haven't talked too much about is Astu Indoor, and what a phenomenal athlete she's become. Spain used to have as a naturalized player Sancho Little. Now they've got Astu Indoor, and we're going to see her quality right here.
You'll see her three here, which is amazing. Yet again, another coach player extending her lead. But then Endor picked up her fifth foul, and shortly after, Gil picked up her fourth. And being a coach player myself, when I know a player is, tiptoeing on that 4 to 5 foul out, I'm going at their neck like I'm trying to foul them out.
Absolutely.
So is this a turning point for you guys where now they've got 3 solid post players with Indoor as she has her hands up to Gil and Nichols? You're starting to foul them out.
Definitely, we're looking to get them out of the game, because that just gets rid of all their height. I think that's just, everyone knows you're looking up at that foul count. You're like, okay, who am I going at next? So I think, I mean, a tough game for them. Like, no one wants to get fouled out, but she's just a tremendous athlete, tremendous player. So, I mean, that did help her getting the 5 fouls.
She's a great player.
She hacked OK's head off.
Yeah, what is she saying she didn't?
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a big
little bit of a knock off your head.
Cayla, we'll touch on this right before we get to the next video here. Talk about Jenna O'Hay. She came out and made some huge plays in this game. She drew the foul from Astu there, an absolute warrior in this game in the limited minutes. She wasn't healthy, and she was terrific.
Yeah, Jenna is an incredible leader. She leads by example, and she's fierce when she needs to be, and she plays with a lot of passion as well. And she's super intelligent. And she'd missed a bunch of the first games due to injury, and that kind of took a toll on her a bit emotionally, as it would. You're in a World Cup, you want to play. And then she came out in this final series, and the quarter and the semis, and she really came out and made big plays for us, and was a real floor general and a leader, and the leader that we needed her to be. She was incredible.
Yeah. So as we look at the next video here, just as a reminder, Astu Indoor, to speak to her quality, was the MVP of the FIBA Women's Eurobasket last summer in Serbia. So she's just fouled out of the game. Spain, all of a sudden, having a little bit of trouble here. And also Liz Cambage is starting to decide she's going to be the best player in the world.
Get that out of here.
That's awesome to watch.
Yeah.
And
that's a big one.
Look at that.
Yeah. Amazing. I'm really nervous.
I know. I remember this moment.
I know what happens, and I'm getting nervous just watching it. Okay, so she reacts. It's a technical foul. Was that legit,
I can't
No.
really remember. What did she get the tech foul for her reaction after the
The
block?
talking.
No, that's
Yeah,
just
I
passion.
think,
I don't
People
think that's
forget that she
passion.
plays with a passion.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
No, I remember
all-
this. It's definitely a passionate thing. I don't think that that's a tech foul at all.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think at that point, the game, there's such a heightened feeling, and the refs would have been under pressure. So, I mean,
Yeah. I always, now
have
that
to
I'm a
handle it.
commentator, I hang out with referees a lot and they get scrutinized a lot. So now I'm on the other side of the game. I can understand. But I think they kind of toned Liz's passion down, where I think that was such a big moment that she was really in the game as
Oh my
Torrance
gosh.
steals the ball. Yeah.
So Liz gets her technical. She's walking a fine line, and then Torrens comes out. Is that almost unforgivable that Steph Talbot would turn the ball over in that situation?
No, I think in games you're gonna make mistakes. We're humans. We're athletes. No, not at all. And the thing is, we still
There's
win the
immense
game.
pressure, though.
You can't be
Yeah.
mad at that. But yeah, no, I would never say unforgivable. No chance, because yeah, we're all playing the same game.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get you to react. I mean, Torrens does that. She's
No.
one of the best players in the world. Steph Talbot probably does that to everybody all the time. She picks their pockets in the backcourt. Take us to this moment now. We're in the last 5 minutes, and it is talk about it.
It's
Talk
tense.
about it, Beck. Playing with that 3-point lead. You guys need a basket.
Me definitely see here, Nicole, she gets the kind of blocking foul, but Nicole, to me, is she plays her role very well. She rebounds, she's a hustle player. She's a kind of Dennis Rodman-like. She's very, you know what you're going to get from her. So, but you're still 3 down at this point. But yet again, you fouled out their best defensive post players. Are you licking your chops at this point? Or are you still, locked in? But you fouled them out, and you've got rid of all their post players. Cayla,
I remember being pretty locked in. Yeah, just being locked in. Like, it was obviously to our advantage that they had, bigs fouled out, but doesn't mean anything. It just gives an opportunity for other people to step up and make big plays in big games and create history. So we just couldn't let that happen. So it certainly, we had to stay focused.
I just want to interject here and just say that Laura Nichols, to lose her for Spain, may be the most unsung player in Spanish basketball the last 2 decades. She is a warrior. And to lose her at that point and to lose Endor, all of a sudden, Australia's chances, are starting to look pretty good. Beck.
I get that, but look at their guards. They've got some pretty special guards that play the game. So you might not have, the bigs might be sitting on the bench now, but you've got some guards to really lock down on, and who have great handles, can do those, some great outside shooting, getting to the basket. So I wouldn't have said that it was game over at this point by any stretch.
Well, I'm like you. I mean, I'm still I can feel the hair on the back of my neck standing up. Here we see the missed 3. Liz is just taking over. No more interaction with the crowd. She's going to work.
Right.
But maybe doing some things she shouldn't be doing.
Well, unfortunately, turnover, but you guys practice this, right? You get the green light, like you said, post players can run the offense.
Yeah.
So Beck, you're fine with that. Obviously, you get that turnover on the stat line, unfortunately, but you're comfortable with putting the ball down, right?
I mean, it's all like a practice as well, I think with that, I don't know if that was a play, you could say, but I mean, maybe I needed to back cut in that moment. I'm not really sure, but I think the whole thing of it is allowing people to play. You can't stifle people and put them into a box of how you want every set, every play phase to go. So with that means there is going to be some mistakes, there's going to be some errors, but I would never shut that down, because then it will mean that you're not seeing everyone's greater potential.
Beautiful answer, Beck. Love it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
now what?
Diplomatic,
I'm
right?
I'm excited to see evidence now that we're going to have that Cayla has ice running in her veins. She is fouled.
Honestly,
Walk us through it.
I heard
Walk us
nothing.
Walk us through your routine. Is it a two dribble?
Shuffle the feet a bit, 2 dribbles, look up at the ring. That was a big breath out. I honestly, and it's been the only time it's happened in my career where I heard nothing. I heard nothing. Never happened again. Tunnel. I was so razor focused. Yeah. Nothing. Crazy.
And 2 crucial free throws. And I think you guys only made 3 free throws the whole game. So you guys were clutch from the line, just to let you know.
Thank you. Look at us.
Girls.
I'm, I've got my stats now that I'm a commentator and not a player anymore, because before I didn't care about stats, but now I got to know these.
Yeah, I go.
Well, so as we get down, close to the end here, as we go back to the video, you're up 2. Look at Cayla battling.
Massive.
Oh my God. To my celebration, I literally go dancing down the floor. I was like, all right, double Liz, bye. Thanks, Spidey. Assist, Spidey.
I'm it.
Focus and follow through.
Massive. Just a massive
oh my
shot.
Goodness,
yeah, I'm screaming running down the floor.
I was
all the FIBA media cameras are on the baseline.
Yes.
Yeah. I was so I guess my eyes are watering now. Woo!
I love that passion.
I'm crying now.
Me too.
What did you think about that? Beck, you're a good 3-point shooter. Cayla was showing us something there.
I was screaming at her the whole way down the court too, celebrating that shot. It was just massive. It's funny how, that's a huge shot that she can hit every day of the week. But when you add that level of pressure, that time of the game, I don't think you can ever underestimate hitting such a huge shot in a game. And I love that I was the one that passed it to her. I don't know. It's just a fantastic. Also, just seeing the passion is awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
That is underrated, your pass. I'll tell you what, you go back and you look at it, that was a serious chest pass. You saw her open. And here we go again. Cayla. Oh, Cayla, what's going on here?
I like it, Jeff. I like it. Don't put the post player in a box. We've realized this. Liz Cambage.
Don't put them in a box.
Yeah, don't do it, Jeff. Don't put me in a box, Jeff.
And Cayla has guard skills. I'm here for it. I love it.
But this is.
It's playing hard. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Jenna Ohe.
Yeah, huge, huge, huge. See, that's two plays defensively by her in a row.
Yeah.
And now, what's the mindset here? Take it down as far as possible, the shot clock.
Yeah. So I don't know why she didn't keep going.
Yeah.
I watched this. I was like, oh, you have the whole lane. But what a pass.
Yeah.
It actually gets.
And I'll just say, Katie Ray played out of position that entire World Cup.
Sorry, what, Cayla?
Katie's a 1-2. Katie Ray Ebsbury. She's a 1-2 guard, and then we lost. Leilani wasn't at the Worlds, and then we lost Lauren Mansfield as well right before the Worlds, and so Katie stepped up and was our starting point guard for the entire World Cup, and just did a phenomenal job.
A phenomenal job. Like, she just had a really good World Cup for sure.
Is that a chest bump, Spidey?
Oh, there it is.
Hey!
It's like a half hug.
I have so many photos of that.
Me too.
When that layup went up, you could see Amaya Valdemaro sitting in the stands, and she knew it was game over at that point. I mean, it was incredible. Yeah, you know what? Katie Ebsbury had some great plays in that. Her layup. She's really become an integral part of this team. But I think what that whole sequence shows with Jenna Ohe, with Katie, with Cayla stepping out to hit the three. You know what? You got to be ready. when your number is called. And Jenna looks like she's out there limping around. I mean, she is not going to miss this game, is she?
No. And it just says so
Nope.
much about her character. And I mean, Cayla touched on that before. She's an amazing leader, leads by example, but I don't think everyone would have known that she was having to deal with that injury the whole way through. And it's amazing how she still was that big leader, even though she wasn't always on the court in other games earlier. But when she came into this game, she was so ready. It says a lot about her.
Hey, Jeff, we have a few fan questions. You want to ask the ladies those? I'm here to keep you on task, Jeff. That's my
Come
part
on,
of this
Jeff.
job.
Oh, I apologize. I thought we were going to see a little bit more video there at the end, but
I'm throwing you an alley. Throwing you the alley,
okay.
Jeff.
Yeah,
Dunk
that's
it.
great. Question from Alex Giacom on Facebook. What AFL or NBA teams do you girls follow? We'll start with Beck.
AFL, I'm a proud Essendon supporter, always. And NBA, I don't really follow, so I can't answer that. That's not my thing. I enjoy watching it, but I don't support a team. But yeah, AFL all day. Love Essendon.
And Cayla?
So being an Adelaide girl, I grew up with Adelaide Crows, calm the Crows, but I don't really support it. I don't really follow it now. But if I had to choose, but in the NBA, I like Spider, don't really support like one team in particular. I do like to keep track of the Aussies that are in the league. I liked watching the Warriors when they were going through their championship wins. I thought they were really great to watch. But yeah, mainly just the teams with the Aussies.
Yeah.
Okay, Beck, what would you say right now to young female players right now in this situation? So I'm wondering if that question is related to, that was from Petra Mercer. Young female players, is she talking about Alana and Ezzy McBeggar? We didn't really get much of them in this game, but great moment for them. Great for them to be a part of this World Cup experience.
100%, because I feel like, in this world, to say you didn't see as much of them, for the next one, you're going to see a lot of them, because it's all part of building. I think it's awesome having them in, having that first experience and then seeing what it's like, because that almost eliminates one element of nerves that you might have. So when you go into your next World Championship, your next Olympics, you're ready and you know what to expect. And you're going to be playing a lot more minutes. Like, they're going to be phenomenal athletes for the Opals in, the Olympics to come and whatever else. But yeah, it's good experience.
And my next assist to you, Jeff, we're just going to cut into the final sequence just to round up the game, just to see the part.
Okay. So here we are, the last 27 seconds. Hey, still got some time. What are you doing? Don't turn it over.
This is so great to watch again. I think I just dropped the F-bomb there. Whoops. Sorry.
That's for fun.
Oh, man. This is so great. I love reliving this.
Yeah. Me too. Because it's so
and
real. Like, those emotions you just can't.
I don't think people can really grasp. If you've never played for your country and you're not a professional athlete, it's all well and good to sit at home and watch and experience it, and you can be a passionate, countryman. But to actually be able to represent your country at a world event, to wear the green and gold, to win a big game like that, all the hard work, the sweat, the tears, all the low moments, they don't mean, you forget about them. They're all worth it because they get you to such a high moment like that. So that was a big moment for all of us. And it's, like, for me personally, a lot of the low moments in the past chunk of years in my basketball or just in life, all kind of went away because this was just such a moment of euphoria.
I agree.
And Beck, do you, at what point do you start thinking about the final in the USA?
Not in this moment, let me tell you. Exactly. I was going to say, I need to enjoy this moment because beating Spain in Spain is no small feat. It's huge. It's massive. And so I know that I was just really enjoying this, and I know the next day we're going to have a really tough battle, and it was also the back-to-back games. I don't think people understand the
triple
tide
back-to-back
element. It's exhausting. Oh, it's a really like mentally draining, it's a physically draining. So playing a world championships as well, like there's so many factors that go into every single game, but it's good just to enjoy this moment.
Two key stats that it's worth going back. I know Sandy had to be over the moon that you rebounded as well as you did in that game. I mean, you almost doubled them up on rebounds and your free throws. You only missed 4. You're 22 of 26. And it's such a vital part of every basketball game. It always comes back. It always comes down to free throws. It seems like.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
So
well, they're a free shot, Jeff. So you got to work on them.
No air balls allowed. Look at Liz. She invited it from the crowd. Oh, there's my man with the inflatable kangaroo.
Oh, I'm so emotionally exhausted that it took me probably I didn't get to sleep till maybe 2 a.m. I was so on a high after this game.
Yeah. After a game like this is so high that you don't go to sleep till 4 or 5 a.m. and then you've got to play the next day. So, but this is
and I usually don't have issues sleeping. I usually don't after games, but I really wish that we had just one, like a 24-hour window to really recoup. I really wish that we did. But it is what it is, and that it happened how it happened. But yeah, I definitely was emotionally exhausted. Look at me, I'm a mess.
But you see the tears on both sides. That's what's the high of sports is winning, but then also there is the sad part of Spain. They know that they didn't hit their target. They're in Tenerife, they're at home, and they lose. And there's tears of joy and tears of sadness. So you can see both sides here. And I think there's Button still dancing and enjoying herself. But I'm really happy that we could choose this game because there's so many fantastic moments, and especially with the women's game booming right now.
Hey,
there we go. Hey, the women's game is in an all-time high in my opinion, and you guys are superstars, and you are leading the way of the new age of women's basketball.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, and that's why I feel like doing something like this is showcasing some of the most amazing games that I'm lucky enough to have been a part of as well, and is keeping that that interest as well, especially during this time. I think that doing things like this, using the technology just so that everyone, like the basketball community is such a tight-knit community, and even though we're not able to play at the moment, we're not able to train at the moment, there's still ways of keeping everyone connected and keeping everyone involved. So I think that's why I personally really enjoy doing these things, and also just for myself, being able to relive such an incredible moment is something very special.
And this question from Sandra Yebdri on YouTube is a question that I actually was going to ask Cayla. So you finished runners-up in 2018, and now you are going to host the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup in 2022. What an extraordinary opportunity that's going to be.
It certainly is. And, to play a world event in your host country, I think the last one, when did you say it was, Jeff? Well, the last one in Australia was a big chunk of time ago. So I'm feeling very blessed and fortunate that in my era of Opal's playing time that I may get the chance to play on home soil. We got to compete at the Commonwealth Games against you, Z, yeah, gal, back in 2018, which was amazing, incredible. But for this world event, I'm actually really excited for the exposure that for women's basketball, women's sport, and for the Opals itself, because you can't be what you can't see. And I feel like the Opals have been, like you touched on earlier, been such a force and for the last 2 decades. And I just hope the Australian public get around us even more so, and come out and watch games live. Watch the best international women's basketball games ever.
Mm-hmm.
Beck, Lydia Anderson's asking on YouTube, in Tokyo next year, we know the Olympics have been pushed back a year because of the coronavirus pandemic. What do you expect from Australia?
Expect great things. I mean, all I can say is that we will be going for gold. Obviously, I think that that's something that is also very achievable. And I think even though it was meant to be, next month or whatever, they were meant to be playing in it or whenever, but now it's a year later. So we've got more time to prepare. I guess we can just see it from that positive angle. We're going to have more time to prepare, more time to gel. And yeah, I think it's going to be an amazing Olympics, because I think it's going to be that time where it brings all the countries back together. So I think that there's going to be so much more significance and hype around this, because we're finally, as a world, have gotten over this massive, this pandemic, this crisis. And so coming back together it's going to be an Olympics that will be remembered for a long time.
Cayla, there's a new campaign. It's been launched by FIBA. It's hashtag First Basket. How do you envisage the return to normal? We've already seen on FIBA.basketball the promotion of this with Emma Messerman, I think, and Vitor Benite and some 3x3 stars. What's it going to be like for you, that first basket? When you go out and you hit that first basket, what's it going to be? What's it going to be like? What's your emotions going to be like?
You saw my emotions when I hit that three, just like that. Even if it's a layup.
First basket for you? What's it going to be like to be back on the court?
Channel my inner Cayla. That's what I'm going to have to do. I'll be running.
Yes. Let's start a hashtag. Be like Cayla. Woo!
I love it. I'm jumping on board.
Well, listen, it's been an absolute joy to have everybody here. This is the first of Run That Back. It's been quite an honor to have representatives of the Australia Opals, one of the iconic teams in international basketball. And thanks for taking the time with us, Beck and Cayla.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stay safe, stay blessed. And Jeff, good luck to your wife in this lockdown period to keep up with you and to deal with you. But what's the last thing to get this first episode up and running, ladies? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Go Opals and go Spain as well. Adios.